This is my workspace. Very grand, beautiful garage. I did have on my mask and my goggles while I did the dissection. I have my computer so I can charge my phone. And that's about it. Hi, I'm Danielle Shoebottom. My student ID number is 5846067, and this is my sheep brain dissection video. So I guess I'll just go ahead and start out. The first thing, although I think it's a little weird, there should be a gray film around the brain, and that is the cerebrum, and it surrounds the exterior of the brain. The black lines that you see are called sulcus, and then the ridges, which also this brain for some reason doesn't really have, they're supposed to be bumps, and those are your gyrus. And then where I split the brain down is the longitudinal cerebral fissure. So it's longitudinal because it goes up and down, and then cerebral fissure, you just cut it down so then the next part is the brainstem and the midbrain, in which the midbrain is made up of the medulla, the pons, and the midbrain. So the midbrain is going to be right in here, right here, and the pons is right here, and the medulla is right there. And the midbrain is located above the pons, and it controls movement of the body. The pons controls breathing, sensations like eyes, like smell, hearing, taste, things of that sort. And the medulla's function is reflexes. So next we're going to have the cerebral peduncle, and this is going to be two lines that attach the brain to the brainstem, and we can see it right about there. And then we will also have the superior colliculus, and this is the area that is the main function for eye movement. And then the inferior colliculus is the main area, or is the part of the brain that assists in, or is the main area for processing hearing in the brain. So the next part of the brain is going to be the cerebellum. This is my favorite part of the brain. The cerebellum, when we put the brain together, is going to be this part of the brain. It can be split into two hemispheres. The lateral hemispheres, there are two, the right and the left. And then the part that splits them down the middle is going to be the vermis. The vermis controls body posture, and the two hemispheres, lateral hemispheres, obviously they are the largest part of the cerebellum. They control motor function. So then we have the meninges, and this is the part of the brain that completely covers it. We can see it right here, this white layer film. And the job of the meninges is to protect the central nervous system. There are three layers of the meninges, the first one being the dura mater. And the dura mater's job is to surround and support the dural sinuses of the brain. The second layer is the arachnoid, and its job is to protect the brain and spinal cord from sudden injury. The third layer is going to be the pia mater, and it protects the brain by containing lots of cerebrospinal fluid. Next, we have our pituitary gland, and that we can see right here. That's our pituitary, or that's the sheep's pituitary gland. And the job of the pituitary gland is to produce hormones that send all over the body in order to create bodily function. Next, we are going to have 6 cranial nerves. What the cranial nerves do is they help a person or a sheep see, hear, smell, taste, and have movement in their neck and head. So the first cranial nerve is going to be the olfactory nerve. This is going to be located right here. And the job of the olfactory nerve is to, create smell, or to process the smells. And then we have the olfactory bulb, which is right here. And so the olfactory nerves are both of these, and then the olfactory bulb is the cingular. And the job of that is to receive the info on the smells. So next we have the optic nerve, which we can see right here. And what the optic nerve does is it's located in the back of the eye, and it just transfers visual information. Then we have the optic chiasm, and what it does is it allows information to be carried from both eyes. Then we have the optic tract, and what the optic tract does is it carries information from the full field of the of vision, is what it does. So it carries information from the full field of vision. So then we have the oculomotor. This is going to be your central nerve 3. And so how I find this is you have your central your optic nerve right here. Then we find the Y. So here's the Y. And then if we look, this is going to be our this right here is going to be our trochlear, or central nerve 3. I mean, not trochlear, our oculomotor. And what this does is it enables movement of the eye and the eyelid. Next, we have our central nerve 4, which is the trochlear. It provides motor function, and we will find that it is pretty similar near the oculomotor. This is the oculomotor, and this, I don't know if you can see it, is going to be the trochlear. Okay, next we have our trigeminal nerve, and that is a cranial nerve. I don't know why I've been saying central nerve this whole time. They are cranial nerves, to be clear. And we will find that let's see. Oh man, I lost it. Okay, right here. It is the largest cranial nerve, and it is responsible for biting and chewing. Next, we have our abducens, which is going to be, we will find right there. Okay, and this is going to be responsible for our sideway eye movement. So next we have our corpus callosum, and we can find that right here in this region. Whoops. And the job of the corpus callosum is just to relay the information between the 2 hemispheres of the brain. Next, we have our thalamus, and it is right here. And its job is to relay sensory information, control alertness, control sleep, consciousness. And so that's our thalamus, right? Next we have our hypothalamus. It is located at the base of the brainstem, and its job is to release hormones and regulate body temperature. So next we have our lateral ventricle, and its job is to circulate fluids and remove waste. We can find our lateral ventricle right here, right there. Then we have our septum pellucidum, and that is just going to be the wall between the two ventricles, or between the ventricles. And then we have our choroid plexus, and its job is to produce cerebrospinal fluid to protect the brain. So next we have our third ventricle, and that would be right here. Can you see? Right there. There. And its job is to protect the brain from injury with cerebrospinal fluid. It transports nutrients, and it also gets rid of... Okay, so next we have our cerebral aqueduct, and we can find that to be right here. And I like to think of that as a road that allows the flow of cerebrospinal fluid between the third and fourth ventricle of the brain. Then we have the fourth ventricle, which I think it's right, can you see? Right there. And its job is to protect the brain with a cushioning effect from any trauma. And it does that with the cerebrospinal fluid. So then we have our arbor vitae, and I love this part, but I love the cerebellum. And that is going to be our branch-like parts of the cerebellum. And what they do is they bring information, sensory and motor information to and from. So next we have the spinal cord, and that's right here. And what the spinal cord does is it relays information from the brain to the rest of the body, as well as it allows certain reflexes for the body, like our facial expressions, and like when we jump, certain reflexes like that are controlled by the... Then we have our white and gray matter. The white matter we can see because it looks white. And what it does is it affects our brain and learning functions. Our gray matter, which is everything that's not white in here, it affects our sensory perception and our muscle control. So then the last part about the brain are going to be the ventral and dorsal roots. The dorsal controls the motor nerves, and the ventral controls the sensory nerves of the brain.